everybody. Welcome to a webinar Tuesday with Teikametrics. I'm Liz Downing, e-commerce marketing manager here at Teikametrics, and I have my friend Tamir Gafur from OSM here with me. So say hi, Tamir.
Hi, everyone.
He mutes himself because my mic is echoing all over the place, but I don't know what to do about it. So a couple housekeeping items. Thanks for coming today. Today we're going to talk about smart money management to help you accelerate your Amazon and other e-commerce businesses. And I think this is important to talk about right now, especially with Q4 coming very, very quickly. And with there being so many things that you need to think about in terms of being competitive in order to grow your e-commerce business. So super excited about the content today, but before we get into that, let me take care of a couple of housekeeping items. One, yes, the session is being recorded. Anybody who registered for it will get an email with the recording and a write-up and all this cool stuff that comes with it. We will be supplying contact information, be it email addresses or contact forms, so that you can get in touch with either of us at the end of this webinar. We do encourage questions. That's why we don't have a slide deck today. We're just going to talk about some things. Put your questions in the question section of GoToWebinar. I'll try to weave them in as Tamir and I are talking. If we don't get to them, we're only going to talk for about 45, 50 minutes together. So if your question doesn't make it in at that time, we're going to save some time for Q&A at the end. So without further ado, let me tell you just a little bit about Teikametrics. We are a smart AI data science, super awesome data-driven ad tech platform that helps you maximize your potential on Amazon, Walmart, and eBay. But we also have a really smart managed services team that helps you create the greatest strategy for those marketplaces so that you can be as successful as humanly possible. So that's what we do, and that's not like the slick cool way to say it, but hey, it's me. What do you expect, guys? So Tamir, tell us a little bit about OSM and what OSM does.
So OSM, again, similar to you, uses AI technology to automate the bookkeeping and accounting side of e-commerce. So, when you're doing e-commerce, you mainly focus on the products, marketing, and, making money. But how that money actually falls down into numbers and then, provide you an analytical tool, compliances, and your taxes. That's where OSM comes in. So it connects to all of your selling platforms, all of your purchases elements, and produces your bookkeeping on an automated basis with experts, accountants like myself and a whole team to provide you that streamlined, smooth service and keep up to date with your books.
Awesome, that's great. So I think we should start with, so you guys are accounting experts, but what is the difference between bookkeeping and accounting and like all the traditional ways of keeping track of your business's finances? What's different about an e-commerce professional's business, an e-commerce business, that people don't necessarily realize?
Well, look, a bookkeeper or an accountant, right? They specialize in many things. Like you have doctors, they specialize in many different things, different areas. The accounting profession is quite similar as well. So you will have an accountant who are really good at a normal retail store or basically builders. But you will have a specialist in e-commerce as well who knows how this e-commerce market and the segment actually works. What are the tools that helps you grow your business through the e-commerce market? So myself, I am quite familiar with how the VAT system and sales tax system works in different countries. So for example, we had a Brexit, right? In UK and Europe. That was one of the main pain points for e-commerce, because with Brexit came a lot of new e-commerce rules. And those new rules were literally introduced few days before the Brexit. And it was really difficult for everyone to understand. But if you're not an e-commerce accountant, you will not concentrate your energy there. You will not try to understand what these new changes means to you and your clients. And with the specialists like us, we deep dived into it. So we figured out how you can continue to sell in Europe, how you can continue the cross borders, and what will be your limitations on all of these aspects. And we made it possible for our clients to continue reach out that growth. VAT is one of the biggest elements for e-commerce, right? Import VAT and then VAT inside within the business. an e-commerce specialist will know exactly what those jargons means, DAP, DDP, how does the import VAT work on it. So the main difference is that the insight of the industry is aligned with the person who knows how it works. And you need someone in your business, especially the e-commerce, a partner that knows exactly what the numbers mean when they actually form into a report. And the automation obviously on it as well. So if you go to a traditional accountant, they know how to do accounting and bookkeeping, but they do it in a very manual way by downloading reports from Amazon, looking at the settlement statements and trying to make a sense of figures and push that to your system. Whereas with us, we streamline the whole process, and our AI focuses on how to get that information into your accounting software. So the big difference is the understanding and the know-how of how this industry works, and then obviously consult you on those understanding.
I muted myself because you mute yourself, and I was like, we could just mute ourselves, it's fine. Let's back up a little bit and talk a little bit more about Brexit, because I feel like that posed so many challenges to sellers and brand owners that were doing things a certain way. Like, for instance, we talk a lot about inventory. When someone was selling pan EU, they could easily send all of their stuff to a UK FBA warehouse, and that was a hunky dory and awesome and working great for a whole lot of people. And then Brexit comes along and the UK is not part of the EU anymore. So if you're selling pan EU, you've got to find a different distribution center. You've got to find a different FBA, like a different place to ship into, first of all. So if you've got a P&L somewhere, or you've got a warehouse, you've got some sort of like distribution thing sorted out, you've got to sort it out in a different country, which is super confusing. You have to figure out what you need in order to have a business there. And then you've got to operate Amazon.co.uk business apart from your pan EU business. So what have people done wrong when they've gone to pivot based on what happened with Brexit? I'm morbidly curious as to what have you seen in terms of people just like either not getting it, not planning it right? What kind of issues have people run into even when they were trying to go about it, like the way you told them to? Just give us a little bit more insight into how that played out with some of the brands that you work with.
Sure. Look, before Brexit, as you said, it was very simple. It was the most easiest thing. So people within the UK, had the best opportunity. They didn't have to register. They didn't have to comply with anything else. They just stored goods within Amazon. Amazon did the rest. So it was an easy life. And as soon as Brexit happened, there's a big line between EU and UK. And anytime that line is crossed, there are three main elements that comes into play. Your cost. Every time you ship goods, there will be a huge cost of customs and VAT, regardless of which way it goes. Compliances, you need to be now VAT registered in different places, different areas, and you have now limitation. You cannot just start operating in different places without being legally registered in those countries. And the last thing is the market itself. You're not able to reach the same market that you were able to. When it actually happened, the first month, the end of the January 2021, there was a report saying that 30% of the goods that were sent to Europe from UK came back, the retail goods. And when they actually came back, the cost of getting them back was a lot higher as well. So big retailers decided, and they didn't do it, but there were comments like it's better to just burn those goods rather than getting them back in because it's so costly. So that's how the overall market worked. But specific examples are majority of my clients have stopped operating in Europe. Especially there was a big gap between 1st of January and 1st of July 2021. 1st of July 2021 is a significant date as well because that's when Europe introduced their new e-commerce rules, the OSS, the IOSS, and all of that special arrangement. So during this period, there was a gray area which not everyone understood. So they just decided and they stopped operating in those markets. And the people who did try, I saw them, struggling and stressing out because of all of the costs associated and the non-understanding of how it actually works. So this was a big impact on many businesses, especially Amazon. And as you said, Amazon stopped all of its facilities like Pan EU and stuff. Now, if you want to trade in UK, you have to have different service. If you want to trade in EU, you have to have a completely different operations, VAT registrations, and legal compliances that you have to do before you can use those services.
Wow, but you have a big client base in the UK. You do help people in other countries other than where you are, but you do have a big client base in the UK. So I can imagine a lot of UK-based sellers saying, oh, it's just not worth it. But I know a lot of US-based businesses that sort of pulled out of other international Amazon marketplaces, just gun shy, just a little bit, not so much. We do have a question. Does OSM work with dropship businesses, Wayfair, the Home Depot, Lowe's, so people that don't have FBA capabilities? Can you tap into other marketplaces, or is it just like Amazon, Walmart, the places that you can pull from an API?
No, definitely. We have many different automations for different platforms like Shopify, eBay, Amazon. Those are the three big ones. But then WooCommerce, BigCommerce. So the system, the way we work is we will either have an automation or we will have a know-how on how that specific market works. And in terms of dropshipping is one of the segments that got affected the most with this whole changes. The UK's dropshipping got affected on 1st of January, which means that any dropshipping businesses operating on without Amazon will have to VAT register from day one, regardless of thresholds. And same with the EU, when they introduced the rules on 1st of July, non-Amazon clients have to be iOS registered and comply with all of their rules as well. So yes, we have a lot of dropshipping clients and we work with all of them, and obviously we have now produced a system which streamlines the whole process, and we know now exactly how it works. So we definitely can help you with dropshipping as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Where did the name Awesome come from?
It's awesome, spelled differently. So the founder
So it's
thought that
awesome. I've been saying it wrong. Somebody should have corrected me. So it's awesome. Good. That's
it's
easier for me
awesome,
to say.
yes. Yeah.
So there are certain things that end up costing a lot more money than e-commerce professionals anticipate, right? So we've had inventory. We've been talking a lot about inventory and how you should plan for your inventory spend in Q4. And honestly, everybody's been like, we have no idea, because 2020 was an unprecedented Q4 in terms of weirdness and just utter, And then even 2019 was super weird too. So I don't need you to give like inventory planning advice unless you've got some, which is always helpful to everybody that's participating in these webinars. But how should people be thinking about that, like sort of emergency fund? Where should they be planning on spending more than they've anticipated, and how do they plan for those types of expenses?
With inventory, especially with Amazon, all those restrictions on restock, it has been a playful arena so far. What I've seen, there are two solutions to it, and they both are quite costly. So you have to focus on your cash flow and your funding. So the first one is that you only order enough and deliver it directly to Amazon stocks from your outsourced suppliers. But every time you do that, you have to be careful of the import VAT and customs you get in. The other option is to get your goods into the UK or Europe, wherever you stored, have them stored in one of the partners like a warehouse, and then they can use the fulfillment, or they can ship it to Amazon as soon as your stock level is down. Both of these elements incur extra cost and extra cash. Because you are not using Amazon FBA anymore, you're using your own fulfillment to Amazon FBA with the restocks. So I have seen a lot of my clients, they're forecasting, they're getting information from many different partners to understand how it actually will work, what will it actually cost them. They're planning based on the historic movement on how much their inventory is needed in this specific period in Q4, and then adding a percentage to it. So doing a bit of an incremental budgeting and understanding this, and then focusing on how to make that into a reality by pushing the plans in place. So my first suggestion would be to understand how much you can afford with these extra added costs. How much can you implement in terms of your inventory stock and storing them? If majority of the people store them at home, but if you don't have a big storage at your home, you can hire storage for very cheap. and then decide the logistics as well. But all of this extra added cost needs to be planned, forecasted, and then decide if it's even worth getting those extra costs and trying to achieve the best Q4 you can.
So when you're thinking, I'm just going off book here, but I'm confident you can run with it. In thinking about different international Amazon marketplaces, where are you seeing the greatest challenges and where are you seeing the greatest opportunities? Because I sort of did a deep dive into the content on your website, and there are certain marketplaces that you guys have written about a lot, which I think is super cool. But does that mean they're super complicated, or does that mean there's a whole lot of opportunity there? And so you can answer that and then just go back to the beginning of the question, which is where are there great opportunities and where are there great challenges, and often do those overlap with each other?
Well, if you're talking about Amazon itself and Amazon's different marketplaces like the US continent and the UK and Europe continent, the most complicated at this point in time because of Brexit and the new EU reform is this marketplace. People within the UK are struggling to understand how it actually works. It's getting a lot better now because the rules are now well defined and understandable. But again, you have to weigh in the cost against does it actually make it worth jumping into those markets. It's well known US is the biggest market, the biggest e-commerce revenue comes from US, but again, it's very competitive. However, it's a lot more easier than EU and UK in terms of the logistics and compliances. But the big part is that because of these compliances, it opens a big door for you, because a lot of people are backing off. If you jump in, get your things sorted in place, like your logistics and your compliances, you can tap into a very big market, which is probably the next big market after US. The whole of Europe and the whole of UK can be a big opportunity for people who are trying. And for some, it is a barrier to entry, all of these new rules, but for some, it could be an actually opportunity to, get a greater market and get greater sales especially during the holiday seasons. So yeah, it's complicated, but it's great opportunity. US side, it's one of the best, but very competitive, and it's hard to penetrate the market that easily. In terms of the different marketplaces, like we have Amazon, Shopify, they all operate in a very specific and different way. It just depends on what type of business model you have, and then based on that, you tap on those marketplaces and see which works for you.
So what about some of the newer marketplaces? I do a lot of content around like just what it takes to expand internationally, and I know that Awesome can help with that too. But we've worked with translations like YLT translations and first choice shipping and a bunch of the other folks that help with, okay, I'm ready to take my business to the next level, and what makes the most sense to me is international Amazon marketplace expansion. So we know that there are certain opportunities on Amazon Turkey, certain Amazon, opportunities on Amazon Singapore. Are you seeing a lot of expansion to those other sort of niche channels? Because I know that, so like, we've been told that, and what we've seen with our customers is that UAE, that's a very niche market. It's got a very certain sort of buyer mindset. Like, what are you seeing in terms of expansion into the newer Amazon marketplaces, and what kind of success are you seeing with brands that are expanding there?
So not a lot, and I think that one of the big reason for that is the understandability of these marketplaces and how they actually work out. People are still trying to figure out their home areas. So UK, Europe, they're still trying to figure out how to tap on these. But I do have clients who went into UAE and Singapore. We have, Awesome is well recognized, well known in Singapore as well, and the whole team there is working with a lot of Amazon business owners. But when we're talking about people sitting in US and UK trying to tap into those markets, I don't see a much trend there. But I personally believe that it's one of the biggest opportunities we can get at the moment, because you can only expand your business and your brand with Amazon and quite easily, especially if you're sourcing your goods from that side of the regions, China and other places, then it's much easier in terms of logistics and Amazon. It's more to do with the understanding and education on how it actually works. But personally, I have not seen many people trying to tap into it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing. I've got some people that are just going, straightforward, let's go ahead. And I've got other people that are being more cautious. I think it makes sense to be more cautious if you're not exactly sure what you're doing, because it can be pretty expensive, especially if you're paying for the right services you need in order to get into those international marketplaces. You're getting all of the paperwork, following all the rules, getting VAT in place and all that kind of stuff, VAT, you know, it's time consuming, it's complicated, and it's expensive to launch properly in another marketplace. So,
And I think because of these complications and understanding, you need the right partners with you, so you can delegate a lot of work to them. Look, we are in a very globalized working environment at the moment, and with e-commerce, I've seen a lot of people try to be the one-man show and try to achieve everything themselves. Where if you go out, you can see a lot of partners, partners in logistics, partners in bookkeeping, accounting, partners in funding, and it's not as expensive as it used to be. So you can always see how you need to build an ecosystem, right? You need to build a system where if you're going into a different market, you have people in place who can work that market out for you. And it's just that it's slightly scary, and that's why people are not jumping into it, but I'm quite sure soon they will.
excellent. We have a question, and that's, does Awesome deal with cryptocurrency?
We have a lot of clients with cryptocurrency, so I would say yes. I am not personally well equipped with the cryptocurrency accounting itself, but we have a team who does. Yeah.
Are you seeing an increase in that with people operating
A
their
lot.
businesses, or at least accepting cryptocurrency payments?
Yes, especially the payment side, because we have receiving a lot of queries recently, asking that we make a lot of payments in cryptocurrency. I think last week I received a query that I pay my staff with cryptocurrency. Can you help me with that? And we took them on board, and our team is helping them. So there's a lot of increase, especially on not only just making money out of cryptocurrency, but actually making cryptocurrency into a process. And people are doing a lot into it. So yes, it is changing.
That's crazy. And we have another question. Do you work with Amazon Vendor Central?
Yes, we do. Yes.
Okay, that's good. That's a crazy place, isn't it? I talk to a lot of people that they're selling 1P on Amazon, and they're just like, this is just bananas. I don't know what's happening. And a lot of people that are switching or doing at least a hybrid model. Do you have a lot of people that are doing a hybrid, like they've got a Vendor Central account, but they've got a Seller Central account too? So they're basically operating two different sides of an Amazon business?
I personally in my portfolio no, but I know that we have team meetings, and we can see, and it's complicated because we can see our team discussing and trying to figure out how actually it works. And because if you're a combination of both and you under the same company name, you have to treat the bookkeeping and accounting in a completely different way, because it's treated differently. But not a lot, not a lot of people. Either they are vendors or they're just normal sellers on Amazon. I haven't seen the combination that much.
So when somebody's looking to grow their e-commerce business, but they've got a set income, or they've got income that fluctuates crazy because there's seasonality to their products, or generally, what are some general tips on bookkeeping and cash flow management for growth? And then what are some e-commerce specific tips you have on the same?
So look, when we talk about bookkeeping, a lot of people think bookkeeping is just a tool to keep your records up to date, compliance, and do taxes, right? I still get a lot of people saying that we can do bookkeeping once a year, get the accounts done. We don't need to do it on a daily basis or regular basis. And I completely disagree with that, because bookkeeping now, especially with all of these automation and the AI, is a very analytical tool. It helps you understand your business in numbers and facts rather than just making a guess. You can be making 100,000 pounds worth of sales, but does it actually benefit you, or does it leave you any money to take home? It helps you control your whole infrastructure of your business, your whole ecosystem. You can budget, you can forecast. So bookkeeping is a great tool, and it should be used to its maximum potentials. And even if you go to an analytical person, the first thing they will ask you is, where are your numbers and how can you monitor those numbers? There are so many tools out there, like ourselves at Awesome. The bookkeeping is done on automated basis, where we as a specialized accountant focus on producing those reports that can help you make those decisions. Let's say if you have a consistent sale on regular basis, month to month, you now want to know how you can grow. You need to see patterns. You need to see which is the most profitable product you have. Focus on that. Do the marketing on that. You need to see which market or which area, your geographical area, your most sales are from. Again, you need bookkeeping to back that up. You need to see if your suppliers are still the same, profitable suppliers for you. So once you have all of that information within you, and you can then budget, plan, and forecast for your future, and then work towards it. But in terms of tips, look, there's a lot of things that you can do to save cash. In UK, 1st of January, they introduced VAT deferral scheme, which means that if you could get goods into the UK, normally you pay import VAT, which is 20% of your whole consignment. That can be a big chunk of cash that can go out. With this new scheme, you can literally defer it, get your goods released from the customs, and pay that deferred VAT in 3 months' time. So there are so many other tools that you can use, like DDP, DAP. People think doing DDP is much better because you get the goods delivered without any hassle. But with DAP, you can actually claim the import VAT back. So again, that helps you with the cash flow. Knowing all of these specific e-commerce related elements can only help you save more, and if you save more, you can spend more to grow your market and grow your brand. So my first tip would be to understand your exact segment, understand your exact e-commerce and how it works, and how you can save on that cash chunks that you're throwing out. Secondly, when you're doing the growth, understand which of your product is the best product. There are 4 types of products. You have a star product, which is the best selling product. You have cash cow, which generates the most cash. You then have dogs and question mark. And the question mark are the one you don't know exactly what's happening, and the last one is where the product is slowing you down. And with the bookkeeping, you can understand these types of products and then make amends to it. Either take the products out of your catalog or introduce something new. But you need to keep up to date. You need to keep up to date with the competition to ensure that you're not falling behind on the line. And then expand your markets. As a last one, tap into those new markets. Don't be afraid of those, because they can actually bring in more revenue.
So we talked a little bit about different Amazon international marketplaces. What can we talk about in terms of expanding to off Amazon marketplaces? So you said that you have Shopify integrations, other integrations. What are you seeing with, say, eBay, Shopify, people's different Shopify accounts? And that's especially hard because that's basically your own website. So yeah. What are you advising people? Because I do want to talk a little bit about advertising. What are you advising people who are trying to really make those places work? So their own website, which would be a Shopify site. They've got maybe Walmart, they've got maybe eBay. They're also selling on Amazon. Are there differences in the accounting practices that you recommend and the way your software works when you're selling on all these multiple marketplaces? And what are you advising for people in terms of the amount of attention and spend when they've got this marketplace? Is it all like put it all into Amazon, or like what kind of strategy are you recommending for people that are already present on these sort of like multi-channel marketplaces?
So look, if you're on Amazon, Amazon has one of the biggest reach. Their marketing pool is one of the best, and with Amazon Prime, you can sell your product a lot easier than anywhere else. But it's if you really want to grow, and if you really want to have that organic client base and brand loyalty, you need your own brand, and for that you need your own website, you need your own system and your own ecosystem. Shopify helps you do that. Now, if you talk a few years back, making your own website and operating that was a big job, and you needed technical aspect to it and you needed expertise for it. Shopify has made that element a lot easier. They have templates that can produce a website in minutes. They have created the whole payment system, the checkout system, a lot more easier than ever. So if you really want to grow, you need to build up your own brand, and Shopify probably is one of the best areas to start with. Again, build that brand, and I'm sure you will talk about how to get the traffic into that brand, into that Shopify store. But once you get that, and once you start building that brand name, you will get clients automatically. I have in my own personal client portfolio, I have Amazon clients and I have Shopify clients, and the people who are successful on Shopify are really successful, and they're making good sales, plus they're making good profits as well, because they're avoiding all of these the big chunk of Amazon fees, and they're in control of how it actually operates for them. And what I've seen is if you're on Shopify, you're worried that you don't get that Amazon fulfillment or Amazon FBA services. There are so many vendors and partners out there that can provide the same level of service to you. I have in my own portfolio fulfillment centers as clients who fulfill orders for clients from Shopify and stuff. So there is Amazon, and then there is a whole new market like Shopify within their own ecosystem, creating their own Amazon replicated with different partners, which can provide you the exact same thing, but with a lot more better reach and a lot more better control.
So it just varies, right? So if you've got a Shopify account, really your success on it just depends on how much you put into promoting your Shopify URL, right? So you can drive traffic there, no problem. It's not like Shopify has, correct me if I'm wrong, but Shopify doesn't have like its own advertising like options. I mean, with Shopify, you've got Google, PPC, and you've got, you've got social, which is working well for Shopify accounts actually. And you've got some nice integrations with Shopify that make it a little easier to get it out there. I don't really understand why people are using, if they're going to use a like built-in option that's got a shopping function, I don't understand why people are using anything but Shopify, because I've personally had a lot of great experiences with it. But it's just like marketing your own .com, right? So it's like marketing your own URL. So those basic, make it count, make sure you're targeting the right keywords, make sure you're spending enough money, make sure you're getting it out there in a smart way and not like piling way too much money into Google PPC, honestly. But then you've got marketplaces that have their own on-marketplace advertising, and the rules are different, the requirements are different, and your spend is going to be different. So, and the ad products are different, right? So you've got Amazon, especially Amazon.com, where it's got the most mature iterations of the ad products. It's got all of the ad products that are available with Amazon, plus a bunch of other stuff that's going on with Amazon right now. So Amazon.com, you've got all kinds of stuff you can do, but you're also in the most competitive of all the Amazon marketplaces. So you've got to think about a really smart strategy based on your brand and your brand alone. You can't go download a template of this is how to set up your advertising strategy for Amazon for success, right? Because you have to understand your competition. You have to understand the keywords that your competitors are winning on. You have to understand the competitors that are winning on the keywords that you want to target. You have to have a whole lot of information before you can put together an ad strategy that's going to make sense for your brand, especially one that's not going to completely cut into your margins so bad that you are not profitable at all. So a lot of people dive into Amazon advertising and they're like, okay, I'm going to just take all of the recommendations in Seller Central. And I'm just going to go for it, and I can figure this out myself. And I'm not going to do a huge plug for you. Really, it's really hard to figure out yourself, because I've seen so many sellers and brand owners really just become geniuses at Amazon advertising. So it's absolutely possible to figure it out yourself. It takes time, and it's changing all the time, right? So different ad products add features, new ad products get added. it's crazy and it's great. It's just absolutely great. And other Amazon marketplaces are definitely catching up with ad products. I would say that for Q4, you need to think about a smart advertising strategy. You're not wasting money on useless keywords. You're looking at your campaigns really, really often, and you're planning a bigger spend for the items that tend to do well in Q4 and that have been trending well lately. There's a lot of Amazon advertising that you can do to drive traffic to your Amazon listings. I would recommend that you look into those kinds of options too. There's a lot of stuff out there. And Amazon's got a lot of programs in place. If you look at a couple of my last webinars, Amazon's got some cool programs in place that give you kind of like a social opportunity that we haven't seen before on Amazon. So yeah, there are definitely, and if you want to talk through this in terms of your own personal strategy, my email address is in the system. It's ldowning@teikametrics.com. But I think that while Amazon is a pay-to-play marketplace, it doesn't pay to play it blindly. I had this wonderful conversation with Hawkers Club. They're UK based as well. And he said, and we're going to do a webinar about this in December, sort of like a postmortem-ish kind of thing. But the whole point of it is that Amazon, every single part of Amazon is a board game, right? In order to win a board game, you have to know the rules and you have to play better than anybody else. So if you don't know the rules, then you can't play at all. If you break the rules, you get kicked out of the game. And if you don't know how to play better than everybody else, then you're not going to win. So you can say that about a lot of things, but I think it just fits Amazon so well because Amazon is a puzzle, right? It's a marketplace that grew tremendously. It's like nothing that's ever existed in the whole world. So of course, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense in that there are different sections that grew at different rates. And maybe Amazon themselves haven't caught up with what, one department doesn't necessarily know what the other department's doing. And that makes it difficult for people who are trying to be successful on Amazon's different marketplaces. But I think it fits Amazon better than it does any other e-commerce platform, certainly, but it just feels right there. That it is definitely, it's a game you have to learn how to play well in order to play it all. So we have another question. Okay, just to confirm, Awesome does take clients from other that are based out of the UK, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of clients who are based in different part of the world and trading into UK and EU. And even if you're US based, we can still do your bookkeeping, and we have partners who will do your sales tax and accounts. So we have almost a global reach. Yeah.
So I'm seeing a lot of content on the Awesome website about Singapore. And I know that we talked a little bit about Singapore before, but can we talk a little bit more about what you can do to help people start selling on Singapore, the opportunity you're seeing there, etc. Let's talk about Singapore.
I think one of the main keys in Singapore is, I think when you start a business there, if you want to grow and meet the thresholds and be a part of that system, you have to be registered there as a business. Now in UK, registration is one of the easiest thing. It takes about like a few pounds, and you can register a company in UK. And then start trading. In Singapore, that's not the case. You have to have a lot of legal aspects, and plus it's very expensive. So one of the things that we can help you is, the first thing is incorporate a company in Singapore as a Singapore resident, and so that you can have your first step in the door. And we provide you secretarial services as well, so there will be someone always acting on behalf of you from your company as a part of your company. And then obviously we provide the accounting and bookkeeping services similar to we provide everywhere else. All of the integrations with all of your online platforms, Shopify, Amazon, whichever you're operating or want to operate, we can guide your way and tell you exactly how it will operate. And then we have partnerships with big marketplaces that we can obviously introduce you to and help you with this whole chain of value-based partners. In an essence, basically, if you want to start a business in Singapore, Awesome can help you along with the whole baby steps of it.
And so in terms of the benefits of selling on Singapore, I know I did some research on this a little while ago. I mean, the marketplace isn't brand new. It launched in 2019, right? And it launched kind of big. It already had 500 third-party sellers by like the first month. And it had FBA from the get-go. So that was all kind of built in. It seems like it was a very strategically started Amazon marketplace. And Amazon says, and tell me if this is correct or not, but they say on the selling internationally part of the in Seller Central, that's actually to the public, that Amazon.c, is it an English language marketplace? Do you have to translate your language, translate your listings, or can you put up your listings in English?
Not 100%, but I think the clients, because Singapore, we have a completely separate team for Singapore, but we have some cross clients. So the clients, they are operating in UK plus Singapore, and I've seen those reports, and everything that I've ever received is always has been in English, and I never had to translate anything. So based on that, I'll say that it's English. I don't think there's a language barrier there.
Amazon documentation usually doesn't just flat out lie to you, although they haven't updated the selling internationally part to like break out the Brexit situation. That's not, the UK is still part of the EU on the website and all that kind of stuff. But I just did think that was interesting. I know that with UAE, you don't have to translate your listings either, because there are a lot of English speaking people and expats in the UAE, in that area, in the United Arab Emirates. So but
I personally lived in United Arab Emirates for 5 years, and I don't know the local language, Arabic. I know English, so I was
and
okay
you
for
did
5 years.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some friends that lived there for a while, and they didn't run into anybody that didn't speak English. But yeah, so I think that's interesting, and I think that's good. That's an emerging marketplace that Awesome is providing a lot of resources. You guys are providing a lot of resources to get started on that marketplace. So I think that's great.
I think one of your earlier question was, what's the difference between an e-commerce accountant and a typical accountant? And I think one of the things you might have gotten out of this conversation is an accountant's main job is to do your books and get you the numbers and your taxes. Whereas with Awesome, we are trying to, build something and not just get your numbers in the right place. We're trying to build solutions. If you want to be in Singapore, we'll get you there. If you want to be in Europe, we'll guide you and we'll hold your hand and we'll tell you how to exactly do that. And obviously with that, and all of that is backed by technical aspects of an accountant and a bookkeeper. And that's how we differ from every other accountants.
That's helpful. Sorry, we're having some housekeeping questions. I try to tackle that, but there's always a housekeeping question that I never thought of before. What are the biggest concerns you're hearing from your portfolio about Q4? Like, what are people super nervous about?
Inventory, that's one of the big things, because the people are afraid, or trying to understand how to best manage their inventory. And with the COVID and everything, I think they're slightly on an edge on their cash flow as well. So trying to understand how to best manage the cash flow, because look, with Amazon, there's this 14 days gap, which brings only the delivered goods for 7 days, all of that technicalities for getting your cash into place, and then selling the products on time or not. All of that can have a big impact on your cash, and then you need that cash for longevity of your business. So inventory, cash, and then second is third is tapping into those markets and seeing if they can achieve the seasonal market on those markets as well. So I get a lot of questions saying that can I do something to just sell in this period and then I'll focus on the registration next year? Unfortunately not, but yeah, so there's a lot of concern around those areas.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing a lot too, is people are super freaking out about inventory. And it's not like Amazon gives like plenty of notice if they're going to make a change or raise the IPI threshold or something like that. I mean, it's just here you
Yeah, you're
go and
sleeping and you
deal
might
with
get a,
it.
yeah, you might get a text in the morning saying sorry. You're done.
Well, and it's funny because it'll roll out to a certain subset of sellers and then others won't get it. So you'll look at the Amazon seller forums and people are freaking out and other people are like, I didn't get that email. I didn't get that email. And it's just pandemonium. And that's the last thing sellers and brand owners need right before Q4, or in, at the very beginning of Q4. It's like hearing the firing gun and then actually having a gun pointed at your head at the same time. Not fun at all. So I'm hearing concerns about inventory. I'm also hearing, and this will segue into a nice question that we just got. I'm hearing a little concerned about aggregators too. So like the aggregators have all this money. It's always in the news about this aggregator, that aggregator got this much more money. And they're going to put money into these businesses that they've purchased. So what does that do to me when I'm trying to compete against the businesses that an aggregator has purchased? So the question that we got is, do you have a lot of sellers that are actually telling you that they want to exit soon? So they're either telling you, hey, round up my finances because I have to show a certain set of data to these folks, or do you have people saying, hey, look, I'm scaling to sell my business, I want to exit soon? So are you seeing a lot of that?
Look, in all, we have almost 7,500 clients overall globally so far, and they are all almost e-commerce clients. And if I'm just going to take the last month. In this last month, I've received 3 requests where our clients are purchasing another Amazon business. So an already Amazon business is buying another Amazon business, or someone completely non-e-commerce. I have a client who's a pub owner and who's now buying an e-commerce Amazon business. So yes, I'm getting a lot of buyers, but the existing client trying to sell there, I have not received any recent request. I did receive them a few months ago, but not recently. So
you're not
I don't
seeing
know
a
which
lot of
direction
people
you
that
can look
are
into it.
not a lot of people that are exiting to aggregators, the big aggregators, so much is that there are sole owners buying up, so entrepreneurs buying other entrepreneurial businesses.
Entrepreneurs, yeah. So
That's kind of
maybe
beautiful,
the
isn't it?
smaller ones are exiting. Yeah.
Maybe, but
So
that's super cool. We're running right up on time. I want to give everybody time to get to their next meeting. So grab a drink of water, step outside if you can, take a deep breath of fresh air. Timur, it's been super great to have you here. You've got such a great brain for the kind of stuff that most of us don't do money. So it's good that Awesome does do money. So if you guys want to get in touch with Awesome, I think that there's a nice contact form on your website, right? And
yep.
you've got a nice little chat box on there too. So just go to awesome.com. That's OSOME.com. And I'm going to put that in the chat. OSOME.com. And if you want to find us, it's Teikametrics.com. And we hope to hear from you soon. We hope you have a great Q4. We're going to end in just a second, but know that the recording of this will be sent to you. We're going to be writing it up on the Teikametrics website. We're also going to have a lot of other great content that comes out of it. So keep an eye out for that. If you need Awesome, go to awesome.com, Teikametrics.com. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time.